Greetings, kindred. I am Voivode Maquette, and welcome to our World of Darkness, where we just finished up our Toreador run of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. And it was an interesting run because I knew what I wanted the outcome to be, and I was driven to just making it so that I would get that Kwai Jin ending. It fit really well with the Toreador aesthetic, I feel. I didn't get to collect any of the girly posters, which is kind of interesting. I really wish I had gone through that, but truthfully, towards the end of this run, I just wanted it over. Because you get to a point in the game where you can not be the social butterfly that you want to be with a Toreador. I really hope the story aspects of the different clans are filled out a little bit better in Bloodlines 2 if we ever get to see it. I'm holding good faith that that World of Darkness will be able to put that out for us with whatever direction it ends up going in. Now, these videos tend to be more of a nostalgia trip for me than anything else, and I greatly enjoy doing them. As you have seen, I do tend to name my characters in Bloodlines after characters that I have played. This was no different. In fact, this was my first character ever. And this is I'm gonna tell you about him. This is probably gonna be the most convoluted and ridiculously overdone character that you have ever heard. I'm sure everybody's got this character for them, but this was definitely my "what the hell was I thinking" moment in Vampire the Masquerade. But to be truthfully honest, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. Nobody told me anything. I walked in blind. All the clans that I wanted to play, excuse me, sorry about that. I was told that I wasn't allowed to play because I was a new player and they were too complicated, and I needed to start with something more simple. And of course, I was pushed into the Toreador arena. I do find Toreador to be a good clan for people to play, but I also find it a great clan for people to revisit later, due to the fact that the Toreador actually do have a deep and engrossing culture, and you can actually do so much with Clan Toreador that you can't do with other clans. They are marked as the most humane, but I find them to be some of the most inhumane. If you take a look at my Toreador clan discussion. Now, Ambros. Ambros didn't start off with the name Ambros. I'm about to give you the most ridiculous sounding, stupid, fictional character name ever conceived. Trio Constantine Draconius. How fucking pretentious is that? When I first conceived Trio, I was in high school, and Trio was this like modern take on the classic supervillain. Like, I think I based him a lot off of Deacon Frost from the Blade movies, not the comics, the movies, because I was not as well educated about comics as I am now. And oh my god, the lighting in here makes it look like I have a neck beard. Oh well. So I do not. I do have like a few days of stubble, but I gotta pop out a Toreador mentality to talk about my Toreador. Anyway, getting into Vampire the Masquerade, though, when I first started playing, I had already had Trio kicking around in my head for a couple of years. He was a vampire character that I had come up with. I didn't know anything about Vampire the Masquerade, but when I did learn about it, I figured it was time to get my thought process on paper. And again, this was one of the most convoluted fucking stories that you are ever going to hear. My friend, best friend from high school at the time, Shelby, if you ever see this, hey hon. She had a character also named Sori. So we decided, worst names ever, Trio and Sori. We decided to put them together and say that they were twins, separated at birth, making the story even worse. Her character was taken to Germany and raised in a small village where her character was prostituted out by her own mother for drug money, by our mother for drug money, and burned with cigarettes and all the horrible things that could possibly happen. She, consequently, once she got old enough to do anything about it, and I think it was like maybe 12 or 13, yeah, she was prostituted out as a child. She ended up like burning the house down with her mother asleep inside the house, killing her mom, and living out in the woods like a wild animal. So she was like Nell, if anybody's seen that god-awful movie. It's been a while since I've seen it. I was young. There's a good chance that it means a lot more. I should probably watch Nell again. Anyway, where on the other side of that coin, Trio was raised with his two half-brothers, who I cannot remember their names, and father, in the height of luxury on some private island off the coast of Italy, in Vamptopia, to put it mildly. He was a high-ranking member in a incredibly rare Revenant family. Yeah, Revenants. We're getting into Tzimisce before I even really knew about Tzimisce. The Draconius Revenant family, Revenant family, was a offshoot of the Obertus that were completely obsessed with money and riches and collecting ancient artifacts. Not knowledge, but artifacts themselves. So, antiquing! You can get any more Toreador than that. My character had... I went home and I read Laws of the Night, 2nd edition revised, which was the book that I had access to when I first started. And I just tried to throw as much shit in there as possible so that my character could be involved in every single facet of the World of Darkness. I knew nothing of what I was doing. And it's ridiculous and stupid. And all the other people who played with me in game are probably going to get a kick out of how crappy this character was without their even knowing. So the long of it is the Draconius Revenant family was descended from a very ancient vampire, Tzimisce. I guess start at the beginning. A long time ago, in the 400s, there was a king who brought a peace between Christianity and paganism, the Druids and the Christians. I wrote King Arthur into this. That's right, because I was big into Arthurian legend. It actually starts before that. The Roman Emperor Constantine, which is where their name got Constantine from, was said to turn into the devil on the battlefield. He was a werewolf in this story that I wrote that was convoluted and stupid. But over time, he, as a white howler, yes, I threw that in there too. He was, so the household of Constantine were white howler kinfolk. I know. Down the line, it gets into the King Arthur thing where he causes a 20-year peace between paganism and the political parties and Christianity of England. He was about to sign another pact, issuing an age of peace in England between the humans and the kindred, which Clan Assamite was all over, because if the humans and the kindred were at peace, they would have a better chance hunting down other vampires. I don't even know why I thought that was a good idea. So, Arthur's son, Mordred, that's right, ends up killing his father because he hates vampires, blah, 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 blah. Stupid reason. So, as punishment for him murdering his father and ruining the peace between the humans and the vampires, saying this out loud hurts. The Assamites chose to kidnap him and turn him into the one thing that he hated most. And they chose a Tzimisce by the name of Ivan Vassell, who was a captive of theirs, who had Grip of the Damned, the most painful bite. His bite did not offer the kiss, it offered pain. They had him embraced by Ivan Vassell, turning him into an old clan Tzimisce, and then released. So he had to live as a Cainite for eternity, and they were going to keep him alive. They would not allow him to die. So if he tried to walk out into the sun, somebody would grab him and bring him inside, stake him, all this stuff. Basically, his torture was to live forever and walk the earth, Shaolin Cain style. So, shortly after his embrace and he's wandering, his uncle, who is Merlin, yeah, we're bringing mage into this and we're going full on Merlin. Merlin uses his mage powers to make it so that he still has a living body. So now Mordred, who has changed his name for some reason to Gilead Dragoon, that sounds like some kind of really bad Chinese food, prepare to face the sword of Crab Rangoon, of Gilead Dragoon. Gilead Dragoon, his uncle brought him to life, but he was still a vampire. He still had to drink the blood, but his organs all still worked, and blah, 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 blah. Giving him, basically, his uncle tried to reverse the curse of Cain, but it didn't go quite right, and he was like a living vampire at that point. He walks to the bottom of the lake, retrieves his father's sword, and then the fucking Excalibur gets involved. Anyway, convoluted story down the road. He starts to, every once in a while, he'll slip away from his vampire holders. And in doing so, he would end up having a life for a few decades here and there, where eventually he ends up creating a family. People that his descendants end up being revenants due to the fact that he's a vampire but not a vampire. Crap, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And the Draconius Revenant family is created, who end up having this massive fortress on an island, the island of the vampires, outside off of it, the west coast of Italy. So dumb. And he disappears off. He just disappears forever, and the Revenant family remains. Now, here comes the fun part. The Assamites finally eventually break through the Assamites eventually break through the protection of the walls. So Trio, in all this time, has been living the life of luxury of a medieval aristocrat in modern day, where he's horse riding and archery lessons and private tutors and enjoying the being rich without actually being able to leave his house kind of lifestyle forever, where he's being tutored by vampires. He has a history teacher who's a Ventru. He has an arts teacher who's a son of Discord, the male versions of the Daughters of Cacophony. And which those two characters end up becoming characters that I play later also, because I want everything to be interconnected, and now I understand where my kid gets it. So eventually, his two brothers are killed. His father is killed, and his uncle disappears. His uncle, with all the tragedy and everything going on in his life, his uncle Mephisto ends up going through his first change. His uncle turns into a werewolf. So, in the year 2003, when I first started playing this character, a White Howler emerges after years of no White Howlers being around. I am a storyteller's nightmare, okay, when I first started this. And I apologize to anybody who allowed me to play. So anyway, Trio finds out about his sister through his father's dying words, tells him that he has a twin and they were separated at birth, and she lives in Germany and small town this, and go find her. Now, over time, and over a few years, I ended up changing it so that the character's name, Trio, is a nickname from his brothers, because he was an overdramatic asshole. Whenever anybody said, "Why didn't you do this?" he went, "Oh, I try, and everybody would just start calling him Trio. Eventually, I ended up giving him the name Ambros Constintine Draconius, which eventually turned into Ambros. So that is where the name Ambros comes from. Now, eventually he tracks down his sister, who's a wild beast in the woods. Fight ensues between the two because she's just a wild animal at this point. Apparently living in the woods turns you into a complete beast. And by the time I get her back, I basically My Fair Lady her into a suitable person to bring around in the public. We come to America, where we eventually track down some kindred, who I unfortunately find a Toreador sire. I beat a Toreador in a game of chess, who agrees to beat both of us. Our sire is a Toreador, a Texan author by the name of William Jacobs, who ends up embracing us. And I find out later that if I had shut the hell up, actually that's not true, if I had played my character better and bitched more, I would have actually been embraced, still by a Toreador, but by a 5th generation Toreador Justicar for our game. Which is really, really funny. If I had actually said, when I got to the city, the prince was dead, there was a whole bunch of shit going on, a Justicar had showed up. It was seriously bad timing on my night, I guess on our part for showing up. But when we show up, the first thing I hear is the Toreador Justicar going, "Who do you think should be able to, who here thinks they could properly run this thing?" And he, out of humor, would have embraced me if the ghoul who is there went, "I think I could do a better job." He would have embraced me and prepped me for being a prince. Which is funny, because my whole ambition was to rule the city as the character. So, moving right along, my sire, this game was completely demon obsessed also. My sire ends up selling his soul to a demon, and infernalism worked weird in this game. The storytellers didn't really want to run things the way that the book rules ran. So basically, if you sold your soul to a demon, you became an apostate Bali. I don't know. That's how they chose to do it. Basically, you got Demoinen. And, so my sire ends up going all evil and demonic, and he starts teaching me dark thaumaturgy. Because for some reason he has Demoinen and dark thaumaturgy. So, I don't know what he's teaching me. I think he's just teaching me thaumaturgy. And this ridiculous this ridiculous happenstance in the game is actually what caused my character to become a good character after a while. Because after a while I stopped trying to fit my character history into everything. We had hunted by Assamites, and eventually Assamites came into the game and tried to get us and stuff, and we outsmarted them by like embracing another set of twins and changing all of our family photos, and they thought they killed us, and it was fun, and there was a lot of really neat in that. And if anybody is interested in hearing the adventures of Trio and Sori Constantine Draconius, let me know, and I'll do a video just on their many stupidity adventures. But what happened was the neatest thing ever. The first ritual I learned in Dark Thaumaturgy was Call Forth the Host, which is where you summon a demon to you. My sire was killed. I didn't know what to do, and I thought, he sold his soul, maybe I can call him. So I used Call Forth the Host on my sire. He was dead. I failed every check that I had, every test that I had. And what happens when you fail Call Forth the Host is you get sucked into hell. So my character went to hell. That should have been the end of my character, but my storyteller had, I guess, sympathy towards me and all the stuff that I was doing, and death was never the end. So what happened was actually pretty kind of cool on my storyteller's part, just because the game was already the most ridiculous damn thing ever, and it was all about having fun at that point. And she acknowledged the fact that it was all about having fun. So I ran several months of my character wandering through hell as a vampire. It was interesting. I was able to feed off the denizens of hell and the people who were trapped there. But this was around the same time that Demon the Fallen had come out, which is why my storytellers were so obsessed with Demon the Fallen. And I was able to see how the demons were getting out. Eventually, I physically clawed my way out of hell. My Toreador crawled out of Malpheus, which was so stupid. But I was able to crawl out, which kind of brought me to a higher understanding of what was going on in the world of darkness. And I became obsessed with demons. And I just started collecting as much demon lore as I possibly could. At that point, I kept learning Dark Thaumaturgy. I kept summoning... I started collecting demon names. I started traveling around, finding demon names, summoning them to me, in the eventual hope that I was going to catch the demon that had damned my sire. I don't know why I went all Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die, but I did. So, I start collecting demon names so I can start calling different demons, forcing them to teach me new Dark Thaumaturgy and becoming stronger and stronger. Every time I summoned a demon, I got more names and stuff like that. And eventually I just started hunting and killing demons. My Toreador, who, when I brought in, and we used the negative traits and the flaws, I had condescending a 5 on my character sheet. I was a useless poser of a Toreador, became one of the most badass demon hunters ever. Which is why I was happy with the progression that we made in this game. If I had met any Kwai-Jin, good Kwai-Jin, there's a good chance I would have obsessed over them in character. Because of the aesthetic. The Toreador-ness would have taken over for me, and the aesthetic of the Kwai-Jin would definitely be something that he would have caught on to. But because I became all obsessed with demons, I became one of the most badass demon hunters I've ever seen. Because you don't hear much about demon hunters. Like, there's that small Kwai-Jin... not Kwai-Jin, but like... China-based Demon Hunter X game where you're playing hunters in China and you're hunting down you're hunting down Kwai-Jin and shifters and stuff like that. And that's a thing, but they're not really hunting demon. But Trio, Ambrosius Trio, Constantine Draconius, the most long, stupid, convoluted name ever. I am done for the day. It is early and I am done. But I ended up becoming a kick-ass character after a little while. And perhaps if you have a character that you find to be boring or over convoluted or anything, you can try to change that character in game. Use what you have to build off onto something new. I guess that's what I'm saying. Trio went on many adventures, and I've actually come to the point where, altering his history here and there, I have ended up using him as an NPC in many games, and I plan on continuing to use him in many games because he's such an interesting character. I've taken this spoiled rich kid, left him as a spoiled rich kid, dropped the majority of his history, but kept the Sire was infernal and became obsessed with ridding the world of demons. And his art is the occult arts. I have a character, I have this Toreador who studies the occult, who is obsessed with demonology, not to become more powerful, but because he thinks he's damned. He thinks that everything that he's done is going to lead him to hell. And the best thing that he can do is make sure that there's less demons when he gets there. So yeah, dumb, stupid, convoluted story aside, that is my first character ever and what he turned into. I gotta ask, in the comments, if you're watching this, please tell me what your dumbest character was. Was it your first character? Was it something that you did just for fun? Was it... I want to know what your stupidest, most convoluted character was. Or your first. Either or if it's not the same. But please drop a like, subscribe, and share this if you want to have other people laugh at how stupid I could be. And I will see you next time. The Bloodlines runs will continue. I might take a week or so off before I continue doing them, because I think was this like the 4th run? We did Brujah, Malkavian, Nosferatu, Toreador. Yeah, so we've still got Tremere, Ventru, and Gangrel to do in that order. And I'm tired. I'm actually thinking about, maybe I'll do it after I do Coteries of New York. I'm thinking about playing those. I've got both of those. I very much enjoyed Heart of the Forest Werewolf, so thinking about doing the virtual novels for the vampires too. But yeah, like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz, and I will see you next time in our World of Darkness. I am Voivode Maquette, and thank you very much for joining me. Good evening.